knows best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday! Happy Friday, everybody. How is your week? How is your weekend coming up? What's going on? Oh my God, you guys! I totally forgot I have to talk to you about the apartments that we're touring. God damn it. I wanted to tell you guys the story of my bowling career and how the demise of my bowling career, how my dad ended my bowling career, that whole story that honestly kind of fills me with a little bit of rage. Well, I've been filled with rage this past week for reasons that I'm not willing to talk about. And I feel like if I tell this story, I will channel that rage and can kind of like really get it amped up. However, I was just thinking, because I do have a few notes where I want to talk about what happened this week. My AC broke. My AC broke, y'all. Texas, like that should be a crime. If your AC is out for more than 24 hours, honestly, that should be a suable offense, but we'll get into that. Excuse me. Did you just hear what I said? We'll get into that. Anywho, we'll get into that. And then I want to talk about what's coming up this weekend and my thoughts on townhomes and apartments. And y'all are probably like, bitch, what the fuck? Because I'm also like, bitch, what the fuck? Anywho, enough swearing, Brenna. Let's tell you guys the bowling story. We'll do that first and then we'll catch up if that's okay. I was driving and I was thinking about it and I'm like, oh my gosh. And there were so many details that I'm going to forget. And this was so long ago. But for those who don't know, I feel like regardless, this story might not honestly be that riveting, but I do feel it was like a very big moment of time in my life. And it's good to have perspective. And I feel like it'll help you break down kind of my upbringing and who I am, right? I was a bowler. And you might be like, what the frick is a bowler? Bowling pins, a bowling ball, throwing the ball down the lanes, hitting the pins, bowling alley. Yes, a bowler, right? I started bowling when I was literally 3 or 4 years old. My parents, I believe, met bowling. My mom's parents were bowlers, so she grew up bowling. My dad got into bowling in high school and then worked at the bowling alley and like now is still a bowler. Therefore, they were both bowlers at the time and I was doomed from the get-go. Right? They obviously divorced not that long after I was conceived and or birthed. I mean, I was like 2. The bowling was not enough to keep the love alive in their relationship, but it did have an impact on my life. And let me break down bowling for you because it is a very foreign concept to most. It's not like volleyball. Like you play volleyball for school or what have you. I started bowling when I was 3 or 4 and my dad immediately, because there are bowling leagues from age 5 to 100. Like, I don't even know if there's an age limit on either end, but I got into a bowling league as soon as I could, as young as I was. I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't the one putting myself in it, but bowling league is every single week. And when you're a kid, it's like Saturdays or Sundays. It's like Saturday at 10 a.m. or Sundays at 4 p.m. or what have you. It's once a week and you are on a team and you bowl 3 games. That's it. And 3 games in bowling is called a series. And I started league with my brother. So obviously we both bowled. My brother bowled all through high school as well. He's 2 years older than me. I feel like that's important to know. And when you bowl, I want to like really give you the full, idea. And I also just want you guys to learn about the sport because it's kind of important and it's not important at all actually, but I just feel like giving you guys a history lesson or just like a informational lesson. When you bowl league, every single week, your average is based on your 3-game series, okay? You bowl a 155, a 160, and a 165. For those 3 games, your average is a 160, right? Let's say you bowl 100 and then a 150 game and then a 200 game. Your average, because you add them all up and then divide by 3, is a 150. right? And when you're in league, this kind of carries over. So like you start, that first week it sets your average, and then it's based on you add the next week's game. So then you would divide by 6. It's like an overall average, right? Are you feeling me? Well, in bowling, similar to golf, there are some similarities of golf and bowling. I would say not in the sport itself, but in the way that you score. You have a handicap, okay, for all bowling leagues. And I think handicap in different states and different ages is different. But when I was a kid, handicap was based off of a 200 average, right? You go to league, you bowl, you have your average. Let's say your average is a 160, okay? It's based on a 200, so you have 40 pins of handicap. Does that make sense? If somebody has a 210 average, they're above 200, so they get no handicap. Handicap is placed, and I believe it is similar in golf. It must be based off of something. That way, when you go into a tournament, it keeps things quote unquote fair and even, right? Because let's say, in youth bowling, for some tournaments, it's like 14 under. So there are kids in a tournament that are 14 and there are kids that are 5. Obviously, a 5-year-old is not going to be as good as the 14-year-old, and handicap is placed. So they take your average from league and they take your handicap. That way, let's say Bert has a 160 average, so he has 40 pins of handicap. And let's say little Timmy, the 5-year-old, his average is 100, so he has 100 pins of handicap. Remember, because it's based off of 200. So you just take 200 minus your average, and that gives you your handicap. That way, when you go into a tournament, okay, I hope this isn't boring and I hope you guys are following along. I promise we're going to get to a point here. I won't keep this too long. When you go to a tournament and little Timmy bowls his whatever, because it's going to be different. I mean, typically you should be bowling around whatever your average is, but of course, like some people shoot lights out. Let's say little Timmy averages a 150 in the tournament. He also is getting those 100 pins of handicap, so his series is going to be really high. Well, let's say Bert, who averages a 160, he bowls and he averages 100. He had a shitty ass tournament. He only gets 40 pins, and therefore he's going to lose. Like little Timmy wins, even though like on paper, because here is the thing, and here's the point I want to get to. When I was young, I've always been good. And my dad was my coach. It not like officially, but like he's obviously just the one who taught me how to bowl. And my dad is a really good bowler. He was the one who taught me. He taught me my approach. He would always put me up in like different ball sizes and so on and so forth, or ball weights. The thing about bowling is it's capped at 16 pounds. The highest bowling ball weight you can have is 16 pounds. And when you're a kid, obviously you're using like a 6 or an 8 or a 10. But the higher you go up in weight, the more pin action you're going to get. Right? Which you're like, pin action? Bitch, what are you talking about? Yes. Okay. Bowling is serious. And obviously, if you throw the ball harder, you're going to get more pin action. And then if you're using a heavier ball, so on and so forth. But anyways, my dad was always like making sure, my approach was good and we're, leveling up the bowling balls and so on and so forth. Well, when I was 7 going to the tournaments and I was bowling and I was really good. I'm not going to be humble. I'm just going to say it as it was. I was good and I've always been good, and I was always a lot better than the kids my age. But again, you go to these tournaments and sometimes like, I don't remember, and I think every tournament was different. Sometimes you'd be bowling kids older and sometimes they'd be around your age. But what was happening is I was going to these tournaments. I probably had a decent average. I had a little bit of handicap, but then I would go and I would bowl a tournament and I would do well. But then a kid who on paper is way worse, right? But because they are way worse, they have 100 pins of handicap. They come to the tournament. They do even just like a little bit more or better than their normal. They're also getting 100 pins. Like I was never winning tournaments because even if I did better than my average, I only had so many extra pins of handicap. And this is what there is a term called sandbagging. Okay. Sandbagging. And again, I think this is similar in golf, is when a person, and people do this, right? Which is so fucking stupid. Like it's bowling. It's not that serious, but Sandbagging is when you go into league, because league doesn't really matter. League is just what you do every week to get your average, to get the handicap. Like, you do it with your team, but like, it's just not that serious. Of course, league at the end of the year, there's a final, like, what's that called? Like when you have a ceremony and teams can win league, obviously. Like if you guys have the best score and so on and so forth, like at the end, like they're ranked, right? But it like doesn't really mean that much. Well, people and like grown ass adults have gotten in trouble for this, where they go to league and they intentionally bowl worse than what they can and what they normally do. That way their average is lower. That way they get a higher handicap. That way when they go to tournaments, they bowl their normal, if not better, and they have way more pins of handicap because they sandbag in league and bowl worse than they should, like on purpose to get more handicap. Like that's illegal. I don't know like how illegal, like I don't know if actually you could get the courts involved, but like if people find out that you're doing that, if it can be like proven. I remember there was like a big scandal. There was this one guy, it was actually a girl I bowled against who was really good. Her dad like got kicked out of his league. He was not allowed at the bowling alley anymore because he was sandbagging, because he would go to league, do that, and then he was winning every tournament because he would have more pins or more handicap, if you catch my drift. Anyways, these details aren't really that important, but I just want to paint the whole picture. I was going, and I'm not saying any of the kids were sandbagging, but like I would go to tournaments. I would have the best series, scratch, and scratch is no handicap. When people say like, what was your scratch series or what did you bowl scratch? Scratch is just like, I went to the bowling alley, I bowled a 160, I bowled a 160, right? We're not adding the handicap. On paper, scratch would be the best bowler in the tournaments. I would have the highest score, but then little fucking Timmy would beat me because he has more handicap. And if he just bowled a little bit better than he typically does, I was getting beat. And I remember two things that kind of opened my eyes when I was a kid. I was like, number one, what the fuck is that? Right? How am I technically bowling better than everybody, but I'm losing? Like that was frustrating because I was bowling the best. I had the best scratch series. Do you get what I'm saying? And it was just so frustrating, especially as a little kid. Like I understood it, but it's also like, what? Right? Like it doesn't make any sense. You know, I get why they do it. And also something else I remember so vividly is like one time I was bowling this tournament and I was on lanes 1 and 2 at Midway lanes. That was my home lanes. And I remember I was bowling a kid I didn't know. I think it must have been like state, because there's like city tournament and there's like all of these other mother, daughter, father, son, like fun little tournaments sprinkled in. But state, I would see kids from like Fargo and Minot and other places that would drive in to bowl the state tournament. And I remember being really young and there was this kid and he was worse than me, but I picked up on, because you all sit at the same table and then behind you is like where your parents sit at like the desk or whatever. Well, this little kid, when he would bowl a spare or a strike, I think he got like, I don't know if it was a quarter for spares and $1 for strikes, or it was like $1 for spares and $5 for strikes. And he would run back. So when this kid would get spares and strikes, he would run back to, I don't know if it was his parents or his grandparents, and they would give him money. And I looked at my dad and I said, what the fuck? And he said, I would literally be broke. Because obviously I was better. I was just a good bowler. Like he didn't need to incentivize me. Like this kid barely got spares and strikes. Like they were trying to like get him to bowl well, obviously by using money. But I remember seeing that and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm getting ripped off because I have a couple of strikes. I have all spares and I ain't getting no money. Right? Anywho, these are things that annoyed me as a child. Well, when I was like, I have to say I was like 10 years old, we got approached at the bowling alley. And again, we did other sports. Like, yes, bowling was something we did and we prioritized it just like we would any commitment. But like, we weren't super well into the bowling community at this point. Like my dad bowled league, my mom bowled league, and we were in league, but like not the super like get your kids in all of the tournaments and like the nationals and like that deep into it, right? Like when other sports came up, like volleyball came first, soccer came first, like bowling would get put on the back burner, even though on paper, like it was my best sport. but like it was the least important to us, like me, and I feel like my parents, like we were always there, you know, we wouldn't miss, but we just like weren't that into it. Well, we get approached by somebody, or like we get brought aware of that there is a team at Midway Lanes, and it's like 20 and under. Like the thing about bowling too, you guys, because when I went to nationals, juniors is like 21 and under. Okay, and when I'm a 10-year-old, it's like I'm bowling 21-year-olds. Like what the but that's just how it is. And my brother, of course, he was like 12 or something at the time. I don't remember exactly, but somebody approached us and said Midway Lanes has a youth, like a juniors scratch team. And what that means is it's a team and they bowl on a separate night a week. And you join this team, you have a few practices, you know, every Tuesday night for a few weeks. And then North Dakota, the other bowling alleys have teams, and then every single weekend, like you have a bowling tournament against the other team. So you drive to Minot, and then Minot would come to you, and then you go to Fargo, and Fargo had a few teams. There were like 3 there and maybe 1 in Jamestown. And it was like this own little thing, but it was scratch. Everything was scratch. There was no handicap involved, which just meant like the best bowlers were the best bowlers. And that obviously to me and my father was like, oh, thank God. And Brandon was a good bowler by all, you know, criteria. My brother was a good bowler as well. I would say I was better, but we don't have to get that, you know, we don't really have to talk about that. Brandon, if you're listening, I didn't mean that. We then decide to join this scratch bowling team. Okay, I remember being really young. I remember being really intimidated, but I was good. And I do remember like people really like paid attention to me because I was really young and I was like bowling against 18-year-olds. And, you know, again, I'm like saying that it's fucking bowling, you guys. It's like not bragging because honestly, it's just literally embarrassing. However, I joined this league and so you'd have these practices, and then once the tournaments would start on Tuesday nights, that practice night would be the qualifiers within our team because only 6 people bowled in the tournaments. And there were probably like, let's say 10 girls on the team, which meant like 4 were just like alternates. They were just like on the side if somebody got hurt or something, but like only the top 6 were bowling. So every Tuesday you would qualify to make it into the top 6, and then you could bowl the tournament. And then the tournaments, you guys, looking back, like it was normal to me then, but like if you just go bowling for fun, you just like go bowl a game or two, right? Bowling as a sport, as like a competition, this scratch league in specific, you had to bowl 6 games of singles. You would start the tournament at like 8 a.m. You'd do 6 games right off the rip, singles. You then had 3 games of team. And then after that, if you were one of the top 4 in singles, you had a step ladder where it's the top 4 bowlers. So the first game, 4 bowls number 3, and then whoever wins that bowls number 2, and then whoever wins that one bowls the person who qualified first from the tournament, and then whoever wins the whole thing, right? If you were like third or fourth in the tournament, you bowled 6 games of singles, you bowled 3 games of team. Okay, so 9 games already. And then if you kept winning that step ladder, because then you would move on. Like there were times where I would qualify 3rd or 4th and win and then bowl the last one. You're bowling 12 games in a day. In a morning, yo, my thumb would rip open. Like new skin is something that you use when you're a bowler. New skin is also used in gymnastics from like bars, because obviously, you know, women often wear the things that go around your finger and attach at the wrist to protect the hands. But like if you're not wearing that, you know, your skin can just rip off. My thumb would be ripped all the time. You would just put new skin on it because 12 games is insane, right? Well, anyways, I started that really young. And then once I got to like 14, then I was like so in the community, and people were like, Brenna needs to qualify for nationals. But there were only certain tournaments where you could do that. Again, this is like all news to me. Well, I started then, like I was on league, I was on the scratch team, like there was constantly bowling. So I was bowling Tuesday nights, Sundays, Saturdays would be the tournament, and then city and state and all of these other random ones would pop up. Like in the winter time, I bowled all the time. Okay. From like young until I graduated high school. But anyways, we found out that there are these tournaments in Minnesota called MJBTs, which is like the Minnesota Junior Bowling Tour. And they were scratch tournaments. And I think these were how I qualified for nationals. I think if you won one of these, or maybe we're top 2. No, I think you had to win an MJBT. You qualified for nationals because there were so many girls at these tournaments. And to qualify for nationals, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm really giving you all of the bowling lore. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Bowling is obviously you have a bowling ball. There are 10 pins, and then the pins are on the lane. You throw the ball down the lane. You're like, no shit, Brenna. Well, on the lane is oil. You know how it's super slippery, it looks wet. That is oil. Okay, follow along, because like golf, all golf courses are quote unquote the same, but you know, they move the hole on the green. Like, do you guys know that when people golf, like the reason you can't go to a golf course and it's like not the same every single time, they move where the hole is. That way, like it's on the end of the green or at the beginning or on the hill, or like that's how they change it. And like, obviously when you're golfing, you're hitting different clubs because you're a different distance and you have to hit this one higher. Like there's all of that kind of like those dynamics. Right? It's not like you're just hitting off of a flat surface to the same hole every single time. Like every course is different. Each hole is different, but then they also can move the hole itself. Like I'm talking about the holes. Anywho, okay, you get what I'm saying. The lanes, the way that they add variability to the lanes, because hello, if you don't know bowling, you're like, every lane is 60 feet long. The pins are down there. Like, what's different about that? Like, surely anybody can do it. And like, what's changing? It's the oil. So not only, number one, there are like thousands of different oil patterns. Okay. The way the oil is placed on the lane. Are you following? There are short patterns, there are medium, and there are long. But then not only that, like there are so many different designs. They put oil thicker in one place, like let's say up front and then less at the back, or like the oil stops at, 40 feet or 60 feet or like what have you. Like there are, like I'm saying, thousands of different oil patterns. Okay, are you following? Well, when you bowl league, every single bowling alley has a house pattern, is what they call it. And it's easy. And what an easy oil pattern is, it's like a medium length. The oil isn't doing anything crazy. Like there's just certain guidelines where it's like just a standard pattern, right? Well, at tournaments, and this is the thing, at like my local tournaments and even at the scratch tournaments, they would change the oil patterns a little bit, but like nothing that crazy. It was typically just the house pattern at the bowling alley you were at. Well, to qualify for nationals, like you need to prove that you can bowl on something that isn't a house pattern, because house patterns, I'm sorry, I'm getting like so carried away, are easy. They're just easier. Whereas you go to these tournaments like the MJBTs and they put down a hard pattern, and like basically just to like put it in simple terms, the more oil that's on the lane, the less your ball curves. Because you've seen like professional bowlers, I think. You know how the ball curves, obviously. When there's more oil, which because it's so slick, the ball slides longer, which makes it curve less. The less oil that there is, the more your ball curves. And this is why, and you probably don't even know this, as bowlers, you have like multiple bowling balls that you switch from. Like when I would go to nationals, you had a limit. You could only bring 6. Like I had 10 bowling balls, you guys, like 10 individual different bowling balls that did different things, because when you go and bowl on, let's say, a long pattern that's really oily, okay, the ball is naturally going to go straight. So you want to have a bowling ball that curves more, right? That way you're trying to get curve. And when you're on a lane that has less oil, Okay, minimal oil, a shorter pattern, your ball is gonna curve like crazy. So you want a ball that doesn't curve as much. Like you have to find this happy medium. And that's kind of like similar to golf. You pick up your iron, you use different irons, you have to detect like the wind and the placement and all of this. Like for bowling, it's like the oil and then finding the right ball, or just like, figuring it out with the ball that you have. Does that make sense? A lot of people don't know this, and like it's really not that important, but I'm just here to provide information. Well, to qualify for nationals, because nationals, they do 3 separate bowling alleys. This is how it is for the junior nationals, with a short pattern and a medium pattern and a long pattern, and they're hard as fuck. So they don't let any Joe Schmo little Timmy from Midway Lanes who's only bowled on a house shot, like an easy shot. You have to qualify through a certain tournament that has a decently hard pattern, if that makes sense. And that's what the MJBTs were. So my dad would take me to these MJBTs to qualify for nationals. And the first time I qualified was between my freshman and sophomore year of high school. I was 14. And that very first year, there was a 14 or like a 15 to 21-year-old division in nationals, and then a 14 under. And I was in the 14 under, which was honestly perfect to just like expose me to it. I would have qualified sooner if I would have known this was the thing, but we didn't know until that year. But I go, and y'all, there are like 1,000 kids in this tournament, and you do 3 separate days. There are 2 days of practice. So you go, like the first one I think was in Detroit. We go, you have 2 days of practice. You go to all 3 bowling alleys. So like you have 1 practice on Saturday morning, 1 on Saturday night. It's just like an hour-long practice, if I'm remembering correctly. And then 1 Sunday morning. And then you have 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, at each bowling alley. So Monday you do the short pattern, Tuesday you do the medium, and then Wednesday you do the long, or whatever. They obviously changed everybody because they had like 300 bowlers at each tournament or at each bowling alley because there were like 1,000 kids. It's like a whole fucking thing. Well, I go that first year. I didn't make it because they have the first 1,000 bowlers, and then it's only like the top 100 that qualify. So you have to be like the top 100 out of 1,000 kids. I just like had never really, the only time I bowled on these hard patterns were at those MJBTs to qualify. Like I didn't really I wasn't well equipped to like handle these things because North Dakota just didn't really have the resources for that. And I was the only fucking person doing it. Right? Well, I go, it was fine. I then go between my sophomore and junior year. And this was in Indianapolis, I believe. We go, now I'm in the older division, but I'm like the young, I'm 15, but I'm bowling girls that are 21 who are collegiate bowlers, like girls that are college bowlers who they only bowl on hard patterns. Like it's so nuts. And there's like 1,000 people, whatever. Okay, that was that, right? Well, going into my senior year, I was thinking about bowling in college. Even though I didn't top or place in the top 100 at these national tournaments, I was a good bowler. And I had a lot of recruits reaching out about bowling because that's also how I got the exposure, because I was at the national tournaments. All of the coaches are there, so they're also recruiting. And like that's when I got noticed, right? Well, leading into that summer, so nationals in the summer, whereas like bowling league and all of my bowling stuff is in the winter. So like I would finish in, let's say, March, but then I had to keep fucking bowling until June because that's when nationals were. But anyways, I was looking at the idea of getting a full ride to bowl in college. Okay, Nebraska was my number 1 pick because they were the number 1 in the country. And I was talking to them, and yeah, I like was pretty much going to go to Nebraska and bowl. Okay, for college. So I'm like a junior. I'm finishing my junior year. Yes. And then this will go into the summer between junior and senior year, like right, like as I'm finalizing all of these details about bowling in college. Okay. And this is where the story begins. Everything I'm about to say is now water under the bridge, right? But I'm gonna like try and bring the passion that I had then, and let me paint the scene. My brother is 2 years older, so when I was a junior in high school, he had just gone to college in Minneapolis at the U of M. Right. But he came home in the summer because it was his first year. He was a freshman. He lived in the dorms. He came back home before then he went back. And this also was the same year because I remember my dad sitting me down at Wendy's going into my junior year. My brother had just left. And that I've never really I never told anybody, but it was really sad. Like when my brother went to college, I remember for a second, it was sad. Like my brother was gone. I'm by myself. And my dad had started dating somebody, but he didn't fucking tell me. He would just be gone, which was fine. Again, I'm an independent. I was working at the time. It was whatever, but it was the summer before my brother left. So the summer going into my junior year where we noticed he was being weird and he would be out late and he would come home late. And we were like, what the fuck is going on? But he wouldn't address it with us and we weren't going to ask. Well, my brother goes to college and shortly after, this is when my dad tells me that he started dating Pam, who he's still with today. But let's go back. I'm a kid, right? Which was fine. Oh my gosh. He told me and I was like, okay, I don't care, right? But this is when they started dating. Okay. I go through my junior year. I think she started coming to my volleyball tournaments and she's always been amazing. I've never had a problem with Pam ever. And I've never had a problem with my father, but they were very much in their honeymoon phase. So the summer between my junior and senior year, my brother comes home. My dad's been dating Pam for probably a year. And I qualify for nationals as I do. And my dad says, Pam is going to come with. And I said, of course, fine. And Brandon is coming because he's home. So it's the four of us. Amazing. I don't give a shit. Right? The nationals are in Buffalo, New York. And to paint you a little picture, Bismarck to Buffalo was a 25-hour drive. And my dad only drives. Okay, there was no option of flying. We were going on this road trip. Another thing, I have the bowling balls with. I'm trying to remember. No, my brother didn't bowl this year. So the nationals before, I think my brother also bowled, but this one he did not. Okay, Bismarck to Buffalo, 1,400 miles. Okay, it says 21 hours, right? We're doing that road trip. Okay, so we set out. And again, I can't really pinpoint a lot of things now. There was one thing that I completely forgot about, and I'm going to message my brother today and be like, do you remember this? There were just little moments where my dad is an anal human being. He is not in general, but he's anal about a few things, like the way he mows his grass. And the one thing in specific that he is the most anal about is being early to things. My dad, we were always 30 minutes early to everything. I remember when I was a freshman trying out for the volleyball team, I was there before the coach. I was at my school 30 minutes prior. I was always the first one. And my dad just instilled that. We were always just minimum 15 minutes early, way early to everything. Okay. Not important now. That will come in important later. Okay. That's just who he is. Well, on this trip, I can't, again, remember everything, but here's a little example. We went to Niagara Falls once we got to Buffalo. And again, this is the first trip with Pam. It's weird seeing my dad so happy. It's wonderful. And I didn't have a problem with it, but he definitely was paying less attention to us, just in general. And he was just acting different because I'd never seen him very happy and in a good relationship, right? We go to Niagara Falls and we actually go, I think, below the falls, and they give you a poncho. And then we bought little strap-on sandals, me and Pam, because the ones we had, they wanted them to have secure shoes, or they wanted you to have secure shoes. And we get done with this tour, you guys. And this is just a little example of what's happening here and there. Me and Pam go in, and then we come out and we take off the sandals because we were done being underneath the Niagara Falls, and we put on our other shoes, right? And so we're sitting there, we're waiting, and then here come my dad and my brother. My dad's walking up to us and he goes, "Oh, like you switched your shoes?" Or like, "Oh, you didn't want to wear those shoes anymore?" And naturally I just answered, because he's like walking towards us, and I'm like, "Yeah, like I don't know, I just thought, we'd put, our other shoes back on since we're done." And this man literally looks at me, and this is like so unlike my father, and he was like, "Oh, like I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to Pam, like I didn't even notice that you switched your shoes." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" What? And I look at my brother, and he like bursts out laughing, like not outwardly, because my brother would never be disrespectful like that to my dad, but like to me, like, oh my God, like my dad literally looks at me in the face and he says, "Oh, like I didn't notice you, I was talking to Pam." I said, "Okay, fuck me, I guess." Like there were like a few instances of things like this, which was just so uncommon for my dad. But he was like, they were in the honeymoon stage, like everything was going great. Like he was waiting on Pam hand and foot, and like fine, and what the fuck ever. Like I don't need that, but it was just odd and it was different. Well, the bowling tournament comes around, and the first day, you guys, so again, you have the 2 practice days, and then Monday rolls around, and I bowl lights out on Monday. I killed it, which I think it was the easiest of the 3 days, like the oil pattern, but still, like I was in the top, like I want to say the top 100 makes it. Like I was sitting at 120. Again, you have 2 more days and 6 more games, but like it's good to start out hot, right? And like I'm fucking pumped. Like we get there 30 minutes early, do the practice round, everything goes great. And again, you guys, like my dad is kind of my coach. Like every once in a while, if like I'm needing a little guidance on like what I should do, if I should switch bowling balls, like I look to my dad, and my brother helps as well. Like they're all in the stands in the back. We go through, was it 3 games or 6? Maybe it was 6 a day. I'm not so sure now, but whatever. I'm sitting really good. Like I'm sitting at like 120th out of like over 1,000 girls. We go into the second day, and of course, like this is a big mental sport. Like everything's in your head, of course there's the oil pattern and that's that, but like if you kind of lose your composure, like you can fuck yourself. So I'm just like trying to be level-headed, and here's the other thing, because there's 3 bowling alleys and they're trying to, get all of the girls in, every single bowling alley, like there was an 8 a.m. session or a 7 a.m., maybe an 8 a.m. session, and then there was like a 12 or a 1 p.m. and then a 7 p.m. So there were 3, because they had to cycle through 1,000 girls at 3 bowling alleys. So every bowling alley had these times. And so also every single girl, you're bowling at the 3 different bowling alleys, and you have the 3 different start dates, but they're like different for everybody. Like mine, I think maybe the first day was the 7 p.m. and then the next day was the 8 a.m. and then Wednesday was like the 1 p.m. Okay. And that could be random. Like it's different for everybody, obviously. So the next day it was either the morning or the night. I just need to like bowl like solid, just like good, not lights out, but like I just need to stay where I am, right? Because other girls, I think maybe the second day was like the hard one. I just needed to like do fine. And obviously everybody else's scores, like some of those girls behind me on the scoreboard bowled at like the harder one. So like their scores are obviously going to be better. There's so many variables, but like you get what I'm saying. I just needed to do fine. Well, I bowled the second day, right? And I did fine. No, I think the first day was the night. The second day was the morning, because I remember finishing and I'm sitting really good. And I'm so fucking excited, because to make it to that second round is like insane. Like insane. You get so much recognition. Like I'm already trying to like look good for these colleges that are scouting me, right? Like I'm just like, oh my gosh. So we finished. I did really well. I'm like, my dad's pumped. My brother's pumped. Everybody's fucking excited. I'm calling LaDonna and Gordy. Like I'm doing insane. And so the rest of the day, I know we just like hung out, we laid low, we keep updating the scores, because again, there's all of these other time slots that girls are bowling. So like everything's updating throughout the day, but like I'm sitting like right at the mark, I think, like maybe at 100th or whatever the number was. And therefore going into Wednesday, like I just need to do fine. And like I should make the cut, or like I need to do like good. So like I need to be in like a really good state. I need to be in a good mental state. Like I'm so fucking pumped. Like my brother is being so supportive. My dad is still like kind of like in his little la la land, but obviously he's excited. But like this was almost like a trip for him and Pam. Like everything up into this point, like it was fine and it was whatever, but it was like almost like a little honeymoon vacation for them, because it was like their first trip together too. I told you, like the Niagara thing, like he's paying extra attention to Pam, but it's like, okay, but we're here for me, right? Like this is my bowling tournament. And again, my dad, like the things that he's anal about, like this is something that he would be anal about, right? Like this is my bowling career. Like this is insane. I think I could have also won a lot of money, right? Because there is like scholarship money involved. And we wake up Wednesday morning, you guys. We wake up Wednesday morning. I don't bowl. It's like at 1, right? It's the afternoon time. And we wake up in our tiny fucking hotel room, and like I'm amped up. I'm so excited. Like my brother's excited. Like we're just trying to like good vibes. And we can't decide where to eat because nobody can decide in their lives. But, you know, me and my brother are on our phones. We're Googling like what's close to the restaurant. Like we don't care. My dad's like particular because like he's such a picky eater. And at about 10 a.m., my dad's like, okay, Pam wants to go like to the grocery store and grab some food. And she wants grapes and she wants some things. And I'm like, first of all, like, it's Wednesday. We've been here since Saturday. Like, why are y'all going to the grocery store now? And it's like 9 or 10 a.m. where it's like, okay, so you're going to go to the grocery store. You'll get back at like 10:30, 11. Like we need to then eat and go. Like, you know, I want to be like 30 minutes early. And that's like typically how my dad is. Right. And I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to be like, no, don't go to the grocery store. Like, whatever. Do what you guys want to do. Well, so they go to the grocery store, my dad and Pam, like a grocery store. We're in Buffalo, New York. We've never been there. We don't know anything. And me and Brandon are like excited, right? We're like listening to music. We're getting amped up. We're like, oh my gosh, God bless my brother. He was like such a fucking like support then and there, before and after. And anyways, the time's ticking on and they're still not back. And I'm like, okay, so like, we're only going to have like a little bit of time. So like, maybe we'll do like Wendy's, or like something quick, or like what. I didn't give a fuck. It's just like, I need to be there. And like, this day is like the most important day. Like I need to shoot lights out. Well, they get home at like 11 or get back to the hotel and they have like grapes and whatever. And, you know, Pam's kind of like fiddle farting around as she does. And like on a normal instance, this wouldn't bother me, but like this is like a huge day. And like they're not really viewing it as that. And it's like so unlike my dad. Like he was like the one who pushed me to do all of these tournaments and like be a part of the bowling and like getting me to nationals. And like he cared so deeply. And it was like, who the fuck is this man? Like all he cares about right now is Pam, which is like fine. And again, you guys, I'm saying this like in that moment, it was just so weird. And they get back and we're like, okay, Dad, like we should probably like eat, right? And he's like, well, Pam wants to go to Applebee's. And me and Brandon Google, and it's like in the opposite direction of the bowling alley. And like also it's like a sit down restaurant and it's like 11. I bowl at 1, so like in theory we only have an hour. And I'm like, okay, but again, we never pushed back. Like we never argued with our dad. We just didn't. We just respected him. And it was like, okay, it was like, let's get going. So we get to Applebee's and it's like 11:30. And like I remember now, like slowly from the moment they went to the grocery store and as time goes on, I'm getting like anxiety because I'm like, okay, like we need to leave at a certain time, but like my dad is being so oblivious, which again is so unlike him. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So I'm like slowly getting anxious and like losing my motherfucking mind. Okay, we sit down and like my brother is realizing this and he's trying to keep me chill. Like he's trying to like joke and like I'm not outwardly saying this because like again, I didn't want to like whatever, but I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm like looking at my brother. And I remember, oh, I will never forget because like I felt rude and it was like not kind, but I'm already anxious and we sit down and nobody comes up to our table for a long time. And I just like keep checking the time. I'm like, we need to leave here by like noon or like 12:15 at the latest. Again, we don't know the area, traffic. Like I want to be there early. This day is like so important. My dad is having no concept of time, which is so unlike him. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like slowly internally losing it. And my brother again is just trying, and he's like, he like understands, but it, like, again, we just like never, I don't know. A lot of you are probably like, why didn't you speak up? Like we just didn't. And again, my dad would never do this. We were always 30 minutes early to everything. And I think we were subtly like, okay, like, we probably should leave here. Like it's saying it's going to be this amount of time, whatever. Well, we don't get help for forever. And I shit you not, this guy comes up to the table and he goes, hey guys, how are you? And he's so personable. But in this moment, I just want to give him our food orders, get our fucking food, scarf it down, eat as fast as possible, and get to the bowling alley. Like this day is so important. And this is like, I forgot how triggering this is for me. This is so stupid. But anyways, this man walks up to the table and he's like, hey guys, how are you? What do you want to drink? We've got Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Mountain Dew. He literally lists off every single drink, y'all. Like I burst out laughing, and my brother kind of like hit me, like he laughed, but he's like, Brenna, and I'm like, oh my God. Like the one time I'm like, my dad's acting like a fucking psychopath. The only thing he cares about is Pam. This is the biggest day of my life. We got the fucking server who's giving me and I'm like, I just want to order. Like I'm like, this is what I'm at. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, and like I'm dying. So I like could not help it but like burst out laughing. And then we order, right? The food takes a while. Again, like I'm checking the time, it's like 11:50, it's like 12. I'm like, we should be leaving, and my dad still has no sense of the time. And we're trying to like make him aware, but like the only thing he cares about is Pam, and that Pam's happy and she's eating what she wants. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who is this man? Because this is not my father. Why does he not care? Like, oh my gosh, y'all, we eat and like, I'm like, Dad, you need to go and ask for the check. Like we sat there for a while and waited. Like he didn't want to like be rude, because again, this is how we are. And again, in a normal circumstance where we came here an hour early, this would have been fine. But it's like, because they went to the grocery store because Pam needed this and this, and my dad apparently just like waits hand and foot on her. I'm like, ah! I'm like, literally, you guys. Okay, this is like not okay that I'm like that. Again, I told you guys I have like a lot of rage already. I shit you not. Finally, he asked for the check, and it's like 12:20, or it's like 12:25. Like we, in theory, should be getting to the bowling alley now. Like this is what I imagine. This is how my dad normally is. Like I should be getting there right now, and we're leaving. And I'm like, at this point, you guys, I'm so fucking pissed. I'm so mad and I'm so frustrated, and it's like the most important day, but then I'm in my head trying to be like, you need to chill out, but I can't chill out. We get to the bowling alley, you guys. My dad drops me off at the front because so it starts at 1, but practice is from 12:45 to 1. Like I think we got there at 12:55. I walk in, I go to check in because you have to check in. They literally took me off of the lane because they thought I wasn't coming because the practice was just finishing. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm pissed. I'm like beyond, I've never been this pissed in my literal life. And like from that moment on, like I couldn't even. It's like one of those things when something happens to you, or like somebody fucks up your day and like there's nothing you can do, but you're so mad. And I'm just like, oh my God. So they put me back on my lane. I like don't know if I got to practice. I think I might have thrown one ball. I'm like scurrying. Everybody's there. Everybody's got their shit out. I'm like rolling in like a person who just like is late to things, which never happens. I'm not that way. My dad's not that way. He's still so fucking unaware. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And like on a if I was bowling, like even if I was in last place, like this isn't appropriate behavior, and it's so unlike him. And like this never happens, but I'm literally like in the top 10%. It just was like the most baffling thing. And I bowled like shit. I was like so filled with rage. I could not look at my father. I literally could not look. And he's back there sitting with Pam in his happy bliss. I'm like trying to look at my brother, but he's sitting next to them. And he saw firsthand like what had happened and like how frustrated I am and like how fucked up that was. And Oh my gosh. And like I just saw like the sadness in his eye. Like he was so disappointed, but again, we didn't say anything to my dad, and just like, what the fuck just happened? Like out of all of the days, out of all of the things, like this net, like what? Oh my gosh. So, and like the disappointment surrounding that, like it's so crazy because that morning I was so excited. Like I was in my polo and my black pants, like at 9 a.m. Me and Brandon are like listening to music. I'm like so amped up. I'm like, finally, like I'm a good bowler. I'm going to get the recognition. This is going to put me on the map. Like I'm going to get these recruits and these full rides. Like I was so excited and just so quickly, like puddle, like done. Right. And it's kind of on me. And then I'm mad at myself that I'm so mad. And I'm so mad that my dad is so unaware. And I could tell like I was bowling like shit, not because I don't think I knew what was going on, but because it's mental, because I was so pissed and I didn't care. And I was being lazy and I wasn't paying attention because I was so mad. And my dad, like, I think, you know, I couldn't look at him, and typically he would help me, but it's like, I don't even need your help. You're the reason I'm in this position. Oh, it's so funny how heated I am right now. And you're probably like, girl, but like I am, but I'm not. It just like was such a crazy time. And like Pam's oblivious, right? Like this is her first, like oh my God, they're all oblivious. Like they're both oblivious. And I finish up and I literally still cannot look my father in the eyes. Like I didn't bowl the worst, but like I had to bowl a certain, like I knew the benchmark. I didn't bowl that. Right. And it wasn't for a lack of like, it wasn't because the oil pattern was so hard. It was because of the circumstances. And I couldn't look at my dad. I threw my balls in my bag. Like, and the lack of acknowledgement. And like we get in the car and I like want to cry because when I'm frustrated, I cry. And typically at bowling tournaments, when I wouldn't do well, I would cry in the bathroom. But like obviously this is a different circumstance. I like want to cry. I like can't even, like Brandon can't say anything to me or like talk to me about it because they're right there. And my dad, like, of course, says something in the car like, oh, little girl, like tough day. And I was like, because I didn't want to blame him because it's like, what is it going to do now? And I just never talked back to my father or like in any which way. And I'm like, what do you, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then I have to like, everybody was so excited. Like I called my grandparents and my mom, and like now they're just going to think I bowled like shit, which I did bowl like shit, but it was my fault. Like, again, yes, it was my bowling, but like all of these things leading up to it, if you get it, you get it. And I just like, I wanted to cry my eyes out. So it's awkward and like nobody's acknowledging it. And anyways, we get back to the hotel and I take a shower and I cry in there because like obviously they couldn't hear me and like whatever. And I just like cry and cry because I was so pissed. I was so pissed. And I get out and I'm like texting my brother, and our room is like so tiny. Like the beds, there's 2 beds. They're in their respective corners. There's just like a walkway in between, and there's a tiny little table. Like we're on each other's toes. And Pam and my dad are like napping. And I wake my dad up and I'm like, Brandon and I are taking the car and we're going to go to this mall and we're going to go to a food court and goodbye. Like whatever, right? Like we decided, like we've talked a little bit once we got back, like, okay, we're leaving tomorrow. Like at that point, if I would have qualified, we would have stayed because the next part of the tournament is Thursday. But then we talked and I was like, no, I want to leave here tomorrow immediately. And so all we had to do the rest of the day was like hang out. Well, me and Brandon go, and obviously by the second we leave the hotel and we get in the car, I'm like screaming, and Brandon's like, I'm so sorry. And like he gets it. There's like nothing he can say or do, but it was just like, oh my gosh. And he understood. And this is like an iconic moment for me and my brother that we talk about every once in a while. The year before this, I was a big Lakers fan and a big Kobe Bryant fan, or we were. And there was a player called Derek Fisher, or his name was Derek Fisher. He's little and he was iconic. And he had just finished playing with the Lakers that year. And we watched his last game and I cried during it because I was sad that he was retiring. Me and my brother go to this mall, and of course, like I'm screaming, not really, but like I'm raging, and we sit down and we grab food. And my brother, because he's so kind and like a gentle giant, and like he was just trying to make me happy and make me laugh and like just like poke jokes, you know, because at that point there was nothing we could do, right? We're sitting in the food court and he pulls up his phone and he's like, I know what will make you feel better. And he turns the phone around and it's Derek Fisher walking off of the court at his last game. And like we had just watched this happen like a few months prior. And it's like this photo where he's like looking back at the court. Like it was so sad. And I like sobbed during that. My brother turns his phone. We're in this random ass food court in Buffalo, New York, right? There's tons of people around. We've got like our food in front of us. And the phone flips around and I see it. And you guys, when I tell you, the tears just immediately came down my face. Like it was like funny. It was like a combination. Like, and my brother, like his face, he's like, oh no. And he's like, oh my gosh. Like, and I'm laughing, but I'm crying. Like I couldn't stop it because I hadn't cried since inside the shower. And he's like, oh my God. And he takes his phone. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no. Oh my gosh. And honestly, it made me feel better and I probably needed to cry. And we get back to the hotel. And that very next morning, we wake up at 6 a.m. and we don't speak. And my dad drove for, 300 miles. And then I would drive for 300 miles and then he would drive and I would drive and we drove through the entire night. It's a 21-hour drive. We did not get a hotel. We literally went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until we got there the next day in the morning. We did not say a word besides like, okay, filling gas, right? We drove all the way through. I just like had to get home and away from these fucking two. Like, I'm so pissed at both of them internally. And I shit you not, we get back to our house in Lincoln. And like, I had been texting LaDonna, probably giving her updates. And while we were away, and I didn't know that this was happening when we left, LaDonna and Gordy made a few improvements on our home. Gordy built a new, like, wooden steps to our front door. Like there were steps to our door and like the thing was falling apart. He made this like tiny little patio situation and like LaDonna had like painted a few walls or something. I think like the bathroom, but they were at our house when we got back and we walk into the door into my living room and LaDonna's like, oh my gosh, tell me all about the trip. And here's me on the couch next to my brother and here's my dad and Pam standing there and I'm like, good, it was great. And she's like, oh, they're like, oh, that last day was so tough. And I can't tell them because these two are sitting right there and I'm like, yep, just a tough day. And this kept happening. Like I remember the first time I went back to the bowling alley and everybody was like, oh, you just really, people were making jokes like that last day was just really bad. And little did everybody fucking know. I didn't tell anybody because it was like so stupid and it, like, what was the point? And I was so pissed. And I remember the next day after we got back, I met LaDonna at her work and we went to Johnny Carino's. And then at lunch, I told her everything. Obviously, I was going to tell her because she's my family and she's been like my very best friend. And she was like, oh my gosh. And like, she understood and like, she was the only one. And of course I told my mom, but like at this point, like it was done. It was over. And from that point on, you guys, and it's like stupid now, but again, like I think this all happened for a reason. I did not speak to a recruit ever again. I didn't answer any emails, nothing. I put in an application to NDSU and I got accepted immediately. And then that was that. I never had a conversation with my dad about it. I don't think I like really spoke to my dad for like quite a bit, like a few weeks after that, or like I avoided him and just kept it short. Like I was still so frustrated with him and like what had happened, which like now it's like so stupid. And he was like happy in love with Pam. And like, I think he honestly thought I just bowled bad. Like, I still think like he thought that nothing happened. Like, I think, and I'm like, how? Like, you are the man that's so anal about being early. Like, and it was so beyond. And then I just started telling people that I was going to NDSU. And like, I don't even think I explicitly told my dad that face to face. I think he had just happened to be with me when I told people, and I signed up for NDSU and I got a roommate in the dorms, and that's that. And then I finished out, because obviously I was going into my senior year. I finished all of the bowling. I hated it. I went to nationals the next year, that summer, going into my freshman year of college, but I went with my mom. It was in Chicago, and my brother had been dating Ashley, his now wife, and we went, my mom, me, we met Brandon and Ashley there, or brought them with, and it was just kind of like, I didn't care, obviously, like it was just kind of like the last hurrah. And that was the end of my bowling career. And then I did like intramural bowling in college because my guy friends asked me, all of my pothead guy friends, but that was the end of my bowling career. Like that really, like I just was so fucking over it. And there were so many other things. Like I was so burnt out. Like I'd been bowling every single day of my life for like my whole entire life, and it was just done. But that was really just like kind of the nail in the coffin. And me and my dad haven't really spoken about it much since. I think there was one time we briefly touched on it, but like it's again water under the bridge now. But I thought it was important you guys know that story because it was a big moment of time in my life. Well, bowling was a big part of my life in general, and I have thought about, and this is so freaking stupid, but like making bowling content, I'm like, oh, how fun. Like it did feel really good. Like there's something about being really good at something, like flexing on people, you know. And I'm like, how funny, there's like no bowling content creators. Like I could make like women's bowling a thing. Like I've thought about that, like going in, getting a bowling ball, which like who's gonna watch that? I don't know, but like I think it could be fun because every once in a while I'm like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to go bowling. My brother and I went one time, like a few years after college when we were both back home. But anywho, okay, let's catch up, you guys. My AC went out, which I told you all about that. We got it fixed Monday night, so I was without it on Sunday. I then went, Natalie invited me over because she's like, bitch, you don't have AC? Come over, we'll make you dinner, like come hang out. So I got to hang out. Number one, I saw Natalie on Thursday afternoon. I went there. Then I went all of Sunday. Then on Tuesday, you guys, Natalie was hired by somebody to go to firework shops or stores and take photos of all of the prices. And I think it was for another firework place to like make their prices competitive. So we went around to 4 different firework places in Waxahachie, way out yonder. And that's the thing. She's like, do you want to come with me? Like it's kind of a drive, and driving place to place, like it'll just be a big hangout, and then we'll go in and I'll take all of these photos and then leave. So we played Spy. I'm trying to get through this quickly because I already took up like an hour of your time with that story. I am so sorry. And then we also, y'all, I spiraled. Also, I didn't have AC, so I was kind of just in a pissy mood. And this whole townhome situation has been stressing me out. So Sunday morning, I went on a walk into the city. We're obviously in the city, but like we're kind of like on the cusp of uptown. So I went like back to where I lived before, and I'm like, I just love the city. And here's the thing, there's so many cons. There's pros and cons to both. And the cons of the townhome are, number one, it's stressing me the fuck out. Number two, most townhomes that we're liking are outside of the city, and I'm just like, I don't want to live outside of the city. Again, not far at all, but just like I like being next to the big buildings. I don't know what it is, being next to people, being able to walk, like I don't know. And so I kind of spiraled, and then I did some research, and I found apartments in the city that are by a gym, and I set us up an appointment, a tour to go look tomorrow. So Saturday, we're going to go tour these apartments, and like if we enjoy them, I think we honestly might just apply and call it a day, because I'm like, babe, number one, these townhomes, like nothing is really suiting our fancy. It's also like they're like $3,500. So with the townhomes, a deposit is a month's rent, whereas an apartment, it's typically only like $500 to $1,000. With all of these townhomes, because they're private rentals, it's like 1 month's rent. So in this first month, we're going to owe $3,500 of a deposit, $3,500 of the rent, the application stuff, the moving. Carter, the reason we want a townhome is for him to have a gym in the apartment. Gym equipment is going to cost like thousands of dollars. Also, how are we going to move that in the future when we actually move into a house? I'm just like, the convenience aspect, and like we haven't been excited about any of them. And like Sunday morning when I went on this walk, I was like so rejuvenated. Like I walked over to my old neighborhood that I loved so much, and I grabbed a coffee, and it's closer to where Carter works, and it's in the city. And like there's a gym across the street. It's like not super well known, so I keep forgetting about it. It's like literally right across the street, so it won't be that inconvenient for Carter. We won't have to do the $3,500 deposit. We won't have to buy all of this equipment. It's exciting to me. Like I like the idea. I love the location. I'm like, we are gonna have more money soon with like the brand deals that I'm doing, and like the paying off of the student loans. So like it just will have more money. So we'll want to go to like sporting events and like go out to eat more. And like, I want to be in the city. And here's the other thing, like we'll eventually move out to a home. Like we only have so many more years to like be in the city and be in an apartment. Like I want that. And I like a high rise. It's a high rise, obviously. It's just more secure. It's more luxe. It's just like all of the things that I love. And so I was really scared because like Sunday morning, like I spiraled Saturday, like Saturday night, I was on Zillow. I had a headache. I've been looking at the townhomes and nothing's exciting me. And it's all just stressing me the fuck out. And so I decide Sunday morning, I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. Like I would sign a lease right now. I just want Carter to like it and enjoy it and so on and so forth. Like I wouldn't make that decision without him, even though he trusts me. But Sunday morning he calls and I'm like, hi babe. And I'm like, I kind of like have a different idea for us, but like, I'll talk to you about it when you get back. And he's like, what is it? And I go over everything. And of course I just kind of word vomit. And he's like, oh my gosh, babe, of course. Like, he's like, you're excited about it. Like that makes me excited. Like you're totally right. This is a lot of money and a lot of inconvenience. And we haven't been super excited about what we're seeing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, thank gosh. So seeing or assuming or hoping that we enjoy this apartment that we're going to look at, I think we're going to probably do an apartment. And like, you're all probably like, bitch, you've been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I know. And that also, like, I just want to have it figured out. But like, the more this townhome stuff was happening, I'm just like, is this what I want? Like, I'm just not excited about it. And these areas are like so lame. Like they're in residential areas and like it's just not what I want right now. Again, we won't have kids for like at least a year, 2 years, and then we can maybe move. I don't know. I just like the money too. It just makes more sense. Like all of this upfront cost, it's like, let's not do that. This gym will be a little bit expensive, but again, I can justify it. Like it's still going to be less expensive than that. And yeah, I think it'll all be for the better. Anywho, that's a one big update. I could go way more in depth. Like I called so this is why I called Natalie on Sunday and I opened up the phone call. I'm like, bitch, my AC isn't working. She's like, just come over. But I called her originally to like vent. It was like literally 10 or 11 a.m. on Sunday. And I was like, I don't think I want to do the townhome. And she's like, what? Because I had been so in it. And then I listed all the reasons. She's like, no, I get it. Like that makes perfect sense. Like you're so right. And then I hadn't talked to Carter yet. And then I talked to him and I was like, yep, it's all making sense. Oh my gosh, please tell me. Oh. Okay, what else do I have in my notes app? AC, hanging out with Natalie and Ryan. They made me dinner. May dog. Oh, I took May to the vet. Follow up went amazing. She's no longer doing any more drugs. I do have painkillers on hand in the future if something happens with her back again. And the injection that we're giving her is now once a month. That's amazing. But other than that, the doctor or the vet, Dr. Hurd, said she looks amazing. And that makes me happy. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you, last night, me and I had to film an ad that's going to come out probably today or tomorrow or the next day. It was like a quick turnaround. It's like my biggest brand deal to date. Of course, I can't tell you the like fee or anything, but my biggest deal so far. And I needed help filming it because it's for Microsoft Copilot, which is actually insane. It's so cool. But I had to have a phone, so I needed Carter to help me because I had to get the phone in the recordings. Y'all, last night we do this ad and like I have to get all of these different clips. And Carter is honestly the biggest help. Like he was giving me the script. He's like, what about this angle? What about this? Like he was so cute and fresh. I texted Jillian, my manager, and I'm like, honestly, if I didn't have Carter, like this would not. She's like, this is amazing. And I'm like, thank you so much. And now I have all of this footage. Like we would start a video and he would be talking to me. And it's so funny because in the video, like it's just me. Maybe I'll post the bloopers because like I was dying. It's like me listening to him as he's telling me the script and then me doing it and us laughing. It was just so funny to see this dynamic of us like working together on something. But that was so cute and fun and fresh. And really that's it. So we are going to go to these tours on Saturday. We might go and look at golf clubs. I think that's all we have next week. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about this. Maybe I shouldn't have told you guys this story because what the fuck am I going to talk about next week? We go to Montana on Tuesday. I'm going to have to pre-film. I guess hopefully I'll find something else to talk about. I still haven't watched Love Island. I'm reading The Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna, which is kind of slow because they're just more stories. Like nothing riveting is happening, but it's good so far. I'm loving it. She's an amazing author. However, we go to Montana on Tuesday night and then we come back next Sunday. So of course I'm going to have an episode come out on Friday, but we'll be in Montana that whole time. I guess I could take my equipment with me. Like it's not that much. Oh my gosh, maybe I'll think about that. I won't get your hopes up, but that would be hilarious because Carter's going to have to work from home, but we just still want to be up there. Obviously, nobody's going to be in his office just because the 4th of July is on Friday. You guys better be safe. Don't do anything stupid with fireworks and don't drink and like, ugh, that's so dangerous. But that's what we have. So I'm going to have to film Monday and Tuesday for that week's episodes. And then we're going to be in Montana. Hopefully I'll get some good content for you. Now that Carter did this ad with me, like that was the first time I filmed in front of him, which it was an ad. So it wasn't my normal stuff, but like he was sitting there like watching me record, which was honestly like exposure therapy. It was the first time I ever did that. I was like, like I filmed the intro and he was standing there. I was like, okay, you have to go somewhere else. Like you cannot watch me. Cause like I have to like turn on and I'm just like, it's weird to have an audience in general, but oh my gosh. Anyways, you guys, we'll stop this here. I did have one write-in. I'm so sorry. I will like if you wrote in and you remember writing in, I think you need to dump your boyfriend, but we'll discuss this more next Friday. I don't mean to like say that and just leave you. There was a girl who wrote in. I don't want to get into it now because I've already yapped your ear off and I'm going to need things to talk about next week. Oh my gosh. Leave your write-ins. Leave a voice memo. Do a write-in. That way next Friday, if I don't have things to talk about because I'm going to have to pre-record it, I'll have questions and I can answer them. But there was one left, I think yesterday, where a girl was saying that her boyfriend just gets like, he's never been physical to her, but he calls her nasty names and yells and screams. And she's young. I think she's early 20s. And that's a bad thing, girlfriend. That will escalate, even though it hasn't now. And like, again, the father of your kids, listen to this coming Monday's episode because I actually have a Reddit story similar to this and that I think you could resonate with, but we'll talk more about this next Friday. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to that freaking story. If that was so boring, I apologize, but I really just like want to entertain you guys and really have you guys know me. And I feel like that story was pivotal in my childhood and I hope you liked the bowling lore. Oh my gosh, Brenna. Anywho, y'all are the best. I know you'll enjoy it. You guys love just like yapping along and listening. Thank you for being here. Have the best weekend. Be safe. And I will see you guys on Monday. Okay. Bye, guys.